Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
Well, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Here's the reality. When people have no real argument, they resort to endless monologues. It's just noise with no real value behind it. The average American doesn't support the radical nonsense pushed by The View. These ladies are living in a bubble, totally detached from the rest of the country. Maybe it's time they wake up and face reality. For years, Whoopi Goldberg has reigned over The View, acting as if her opinions were undeniable facts. She cuts off guests, steamrolls over dissenting voices, and dictates the conversation without allowing real debate. But in one shocking moment, her dominance crumbled. And it was all thanks to Karoline Leavitt. Nobody saw this coming. The episode started off the same as always. Eye rolls, smug chuckles, and a panel of hosts all nodding along, perfectly aligned with their predictable, left-leaning agenda.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Whoopi, as confident as ever, leaned back in her chair, ready to dominate yet another discussion. Then the conversation took a turn. Wokeness came up. And if there's one thing The View worships, it's wokeness. They treat it like an unshakable pillar of their existence. Because frankly, it is. Feeling bold, Whoopi took the first jab. With her usual smirk, she turned to Karoline and smugly declared, "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job." And just like that, boom, the entire energy in the room shifted. The audience tensed up. Even Joy Behar, who's built a career on mocking conservatives, shifted in her seat, visibly uncomfortable.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good.
And just like always, Whoopi's next response was exactly what you'd expect. Predictable and, honestly, exhausting. After all these years on television, you'd think she'd come up with something fresh, but nope. Here we are again. Let's hear what she has to say this time.
In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably biased and they're prejudiced against me.
The tension in the room was through the roof. Everyone knew something big was about to happen. And let's just say, Whoopi was not ready for what came next. This wasn't a simple back and forth. This was Whoopi Goldberg attacking Karoline Leavitt's entire career, her intelligence, her accomplishments, reducing all of it to nothing more than a byproduct of the very ideology she openly opposes. It was dismissive, belittling, and completely condescending. And yet, the audience clapped, almost robotically. A few even laughed, but there was a weird energy in the air, a sense that even they knew Whoopi had stepped over the line. But Karoline, she didn't flinch. She didn't panic. She didn't rush to defend herself or desperately try to fire back. No, she did something way more powerful. She smiled. This was a moment the audience had never seen before. And if you're enjoying this breakdown video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because what happens next takes this to a whole new level. Karoline came armed with facts, hard, undeniable numbers that couldn't be dismissed with a sarcastic comment or brushed aside with a wave of the hand. She laid out reports detailing exactly how taxpayer money was being funneled into bizarrely woke programs. Gender studies in Guatemala, Sesame Street adaptations pushing American social activism overseas, and a long list of other eyebrow-raising government initiatives that left people with more questions than answers. With sharp precision, she connected the dots, exposing how wokeness had shifted from a social movement into something far more insidious. A political weapon designed to silence, control, and punish anyone who dared to think differently. And Whoopi? She wasn't laughing anymore.
Divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
You can't deny it. She's articulate and well-spoken. And yet, instead of lifting up another woman, the hosts of The View decided to mock her. What does that tell you about their real agenda? Let's keep watching, because Karoline is about to drop even more truth bombs that they won't be able to ignore.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
This is what The View doesn't want to hear. The woman who built her career shutting down conservatives, dominating conversations, and steamrolling uncomfortable topics was suddenly in a position she wasn't used to. She was on defense. Whoopi shifted in her chair, the smug grin gone. Her hands fidgeted, searching for something, anything to latch onto. She was used to guests fumbling their words, trying to keep up with her aggressive, rapid-fire rebuttals. But this time, the script was flipped. She wanted to take control of the conversation again, to steer it back in her favor. But Karoline wasn't letting her. For the first time in a long time, it was obvious to everyone. Whoopi Goldberg had backed herself into a corner, and there was no easy escape. She opened her mouth, then shut it. Tried again. Still nothing. The words just wouldn't come. The audience, normally quick to erupt in cheers, fell into an uneasy silence. Even the most loyal View fans didn't know how to react. The energy in the room had shifted, and suddenly, no one was sure if they should laugh, clap, or just sit there, waiting for Whoopi to say something, anything to regain control. Even the production team hesitated. Should they zoom in on Whoopi's stunned face to capture this moment? Or should they cut to commercial and hope no one noticed? Whoopi, normally sharp with a dismissive comeback or sarcastic remark, now sat stiffly in her chair, probably wishing she could disappear into it. She had walked herself into a trap, and there was no easy way out. And this moment exposed everything. If wokeness is really about diversity and inclusion, then why are conservative women the ones constantly under attack? Why do the same people who preach tolerance suddenly turn hostile when someone dares to think differently? At that moment, Whoopi Goldberg knew she had nothing. No sharp response, no quick-witted remark. Nothing to flip the situation in her favor. The silence dragged on, and everyone felt it. Desperate to change the mood, Joy Behar jumped in, grasping for a last-minute joke to break the tension. But it was too late. Whoopi had done something she had never done before. She had completely unraveled. On live television.
You know, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on. Right. That's what you hear. Yeah. When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have.
It's honestly painful to watch. The way she argues, it's so childish, so dismissive, especially when she's confronted with hard facts she just can't refute. It makes you wonder, how does someone like her still have such a strong platform? How does someone who lacks real substance manage to keep influencing public opinion? Maybe it's just the fact that she's been a fixture in daytime TV for so long. But at this point, you'd think they'd replace her with someone who can actually bring real, thoughtful discussion to the table.
They talk at you, not to you, and that's what she was doing. And she was doing it And it's not new.
No.
But everybody's hip to you all now.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the trail.
And the internet? Oh, the internet exploded. Memes, reaction clips, endless discussion. Within minutes, Whoopi's stunned reaction was everywhere, playing on repeat. But here's where things get even crazier. This isn't the first time Whoopi's reckless mouth has landed her in trouble. Over the years, she's turned The View into a controversy factory, dragging ABC through one disaster after another. From her tone-deaf remarks about the Holocaust to her bizarre defenses of controversial figures, Whoopi has been at the center of some of the most shocking scandals in the show's history. But nothing has hit ABC harder than the wave of defamation lawsuits that have been stacking up recently. First, it was Carrie Underwood, then Elon Musk, and now Karoline Leavitt. One after another, these lawsuits kept piling up, making it harder for ABC to ignore the real cost of Whoopi's unchecked commentary. And the worst part? This time, Whoopi had no one else to blame. She had no scapegoat, no one to throw under the bus. Let's talk about Carrie Underwood. When Carrie performed at Trump's second swearing-in ceremony, Whoopi and her co-hosts ripped her apart. They didn't just critique her performance, they went all in, ruthless. They mocked her, claimed she had destroyed her career, and even suggested she was now aligned with hate. It wasn't just criticism, it was a full-blown character assassination. And they expected Carrie to just sit back and take it. But Carrie? She did something no one saw coming. Instead of issuing a vague apology or some weak PR statement, she fought back. She filed a $1 billion defamation lawsuit against The View. And when that lawsuit finally went to court, something explosive came to light. Something that not even Whoopi saw coming.
That you saw live on this program yesterday. Joy Behar stirring the pot of controversy after saying this about Karoline.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
No, you cannot be attractive and smart. I will try to give Joy the benefit, and oh, thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her own.
Hearing a different perspective, one that isn't shaped by their usual narrative, it's satisfying, isn't it?
I mean, you would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark. Because Karoline Leavitt she went to St. Anselm College, she worked for WMUR
Ran
TV.
for Congress?
In New Hampshire, she ran for Congress at the age of 25, put out a very good campaign.
Karoline's track record speaks for itself, and it's great to see her getting the recognition she deserves. Meanwhile, Whoopi's career, it's taken a very different path. No one can deny she had an impressive start in Hollywood. But now, it seems like her entire role in the media revolves around controversy rather than substance. Her position on The View, it doesn't feel like she's there because she's adding value. It's just because she's been there for so long. At this point, what real contributions is she even making?
9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives and this, again, this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. Yeah, I'm that old. And she went out there for her very first briefing at the age of 27 years old, the youngest press secretary ever, and did a terrific job.
Confidential emails revealed something shocking. ABC deliberately planned the smear campaign against Carrie Underwood to boost ratings. This wasn't some accidental misstep. It was a carefully crafted hit job, designed to stir controversy, ignite outrage, and keep The View in the headlines. But when the truth came out, it rocked the entire industry. ABC executives went into full-blown crisis mode, scrambling to contain the fallout. They were ultimately forced to settle the case with a massive, undisclosed payout. Behind the scenes, there were whispers. Was The View even worth the headache anymore? And just when ABC thought they had put out the fire, Elon Musk entered the picture. Whoopi and her co-hosts spent months smearing Musk, painting him as some kind of dangerous villain. They spread misinformation about his management of Twitter, pushing a completely false narrative. But Musk wasn't about to sit back and take it. He fought back. He sued, and The View found itself right back in a full-blown PR disaster. The damage was undeniable. Advertisers who had once bankrolled the show started backing away. They were done with the endless scandals. The View's once golden reputation was crumbling, and major sponsors started rethinking their partnerships. With lawsuits piling up, the cracks in The View grew deeper. The once unstoppable show, led by Whoopi Goldberg, was now on the verge of total collapse. 3 lawsuits in, advertisers jumping ship, and ABC scrambling. It was panic mode at the network. At this point, The View was no longer the money-making machine it once was, and ABC had no clue how to stop the downward spiral.
Yeah. I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation.
She's just rambling in circles. Meanwhile, Karoline is standing firm. She's the one actually standing up for something real.
The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our...
And this was the moment everything changed. For years, Whoopi controlled the conversations, shut down opposing views, and dictated the narrative on The View. But her showdown with Karoline Leavitt was the moment her power crumbled. It played out in real time, on live TV, and the world saw it happen. ABC knew they had a serious problem, so they tried to cover it up, tried to claim Whoopi was taking a break. But let's be real, we all know what really happened. She was fired. With advertisers dropping out and fans questioning the future of the show, ABC was left scrambling. Now, with Whoopi gone, The View is at a crossroads. Do they bring in another Whoopi, someone who will push the same tired agenda? Or do they finally realize that their audience is sick and tired of this nonsense? Is this the beginning of the end for The View? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.